So, I think just as you were, I was wholeheartly irritated when you were drafted so low. I mean, what were they thinking?
I mean, I don't know. I guess, there's really no answer to that. But the thing that's cool is that everybody had the same feeling on it. I wasn't the only one that was irritated, as you put it. What I said afterwards on that Draft Center Live thing they had was straight from the heart, and I think it resonated with what a lot of people thought, so it's cool.
You and Chris Jericho become must-watch TV every Monday night.
Thank
you
you.
guys just have this chemistry together, and it's just been amazing. I mean, how does it feel being a part of a tag team and being with Chris?
It's pretty unique. I haven't. I was a part of a tag team on the Independents for a long time, but it hadn't been a couple. It had been a couple of years since I've been. I wouldn't say we're a tag team, but we've got some sort of association, whatever it is.
It's a bromance.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't go that far, but it's a lot of fun. It's somebody I looked up to for so many years, and people seem to enjoy what we do. A lot of it is just the relationship we have outside the ring just comes to life on screen, and people like it, so I'm all for it.
Well, you're definitely no stranger to tag teams. I was saying to my partner Dave here and then to the SiriusXM listeners that I just wish that Owens and Zayn would just keep going. Like, just keep fighting. You could go through SummerSlam. You could go to WrestleMania. It's one of those classic feuds as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I feel like there's no way we won't find each other back in the same ring eventually. But I think it's good to move on to something else for now. Getting to wrestle guys like Enzo and Cass, who I've never been in the ring with, on a stage like SummerSlam, it is really cool because it's fresh and it's exciting, and that's probably the best part of the brand extension is hopefully it'll make room for a lot of fresh matches because, I wrestled Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose so many times over the past few months, and as enjoyable as the matches are, and I think we always put on a great show. It'll be interesting if the next match between me and those guys is like 2-3 years down the line once, some of them get, like, I don't know if I go to SmackDown, he comes to Raw, whatever happens, we'll be different people by that point. So it's an entire different feel, and I just like that it brings some fresh new matches, makes that possible.
The last time we spoke with you is before you even were a part of the WWE. Talk about this roller coaster ride. Everybody talks about being a part of WWE, the schedule, everything that goes into it. What's it been like for you?
The schedule's no joke, obviously, but it's always been a dream, right? As cliche as it might sound. So to me, living it is incredible. I'm lucky because I have an amazing wife at home, takes care of my kids, and she's very supportive. So are my kids. I have very supportive parents. I have very supportive in-laws. Like, we have a great support system, which makes it possible for me to do that. And at the end of the day, it's all worth it when I see how happy my kids are, to see me doing well, and how proud my wife is, how proud my parents are, and obviously I'm providing a good living for them, which is great. They're in the hotel right now waiting for me. My wife, my kids, my in-laws, and my parents are coming up Saturday. It's anytime they can, they come, and it's something we're all living together, and it makes it even more special.
It's funny, Dave says roller coaster, and not that I'm taking exception to that, but usually the roller coaster, easy. Usually the roller coaster starts from the bottom and goes up, but you came into NXT champion. You come to the WWE main roster, and I'm only going back because, like Dave said, we haven't spoken to you in a long time, and you beat John Cena. Talk about making an impact in the biggest organization in the land.
Yeah, I think in a way I made up for lost time because it took me 15 years to get here. I think I probably should have been here a long time ago. For whatever reason, I wasn't. But now that once I got to NXT, some people take years to get from NXT to the main roster. It took me, from the time I made my debut on NXT television to the time I got to Raw, it took me 6 months. And then I feel like I just made up for lost time, honestly. I've been doing this for a long time. Now I am where I belong. I always felt that way.
Were people scared? Sorry to interrupt. Were people scared of your style? Were people scared? Well, what was the reticence for a company like this to say, hey, you know what, I need to take a shot on Kevin, or I'm not going to take a shot on Kevin?
That all came down to Triple H. I did my tryout, and the bottom line was his. The final word was his, and he wanted to take a shot. I think because he knew, some people can talk about the style I used to have on the independents, but I think Triple H knows. Obviously, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's an incredibly smart man for what we do. I think he knew that I can adapt, and I could bring something special to the company, and I think I have. But I wouldn't have gotten the chance to do that without him. So, there's a lot of people in NXT that helped me. Like, I met Dusty Dusty was so instrumental and so helpful. You know, Matt Bloom and Terry Taylor, always too many to name, but if it wasn't for Triple H making that call in the first place, I wouldn't be here. So that's something I'm always going to be very grateful for.
Now, Doug and I are both parents. What was it like for you, for your family, to see you on TV? You know, not only making the debut, being in a feud with John Cena, but just being able to tune it every night, every Monday night, and get to see you on TV.
Yeah, I mean, my parents saw me go through the entire process. Like, they saw me watch that first tape when I was 11 years old and say, I want to be a wrestler. And they didn't say, well, that's just crazy. They were just like, okay, yeah. And then a couple years later, they found a wrestling school for me to start training, and
nice.
They drove me to there, and they drove me to every show, and they you know, even when I started wrestling in the U.S., they would follow when they could. They'd drive 6-7 hours to come watch me, and they've always been so supportive. So for them to see that all the sacrifices they made for me to make it, and now it paid off, I know how proud they are. I'm just happy I could give back to them just by, I mean, like I remember my dad left me a voicemail after I showed up on Raw the first time, and I'll always save that voicemail. And that's just something really special, and I'm just glad I can take him on the ride with me.
I recall Ladder Wars 2 at the Hammerstein, you and Jeri-KO versus the Wolves.
Yeah.
I recall you going through a table through a ladder. You know, I recall, you know, a lot of physical punishment throughout your career, which we followed very closely. That versus the road, that versus, you know, 280, 300 days on the road for WWE. Which is more grueling on the body? Which is more grueling on the mind?
I don't know that either one is. I mean, a lot of the physical sacrifices I made on the independents are the same kind of physical sacrifices I make now. I don't feel any worse now than I felt back then. I honestly kind of feel great, even though I've been doing this for 16 years. Like you said, I've taken some pretty crazy stuff. I've landed in some really hard things, and I'm fine. I feel great. You know, I've had knee surgeries. I've had stuff like that, but you know, the aches and pains come and go in this business, just part of it. As far as the schedule is concerned, it's no joke, but it's a small price to pay to be able to do this, especially after wanting to do it for 20 years, you know what I mean?
And you mentioned Hammerstein Ballroom, New York City, Brooklyn, SummerSlam. What's it like performing in front of the New York fans?
It's always a great time. The crowd's always real crazy, real motivated, real energetic. You know, sometimes it goes the way you want. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they start just chanting whatever they want during their match. But hey, it's the challenge. But I don't think anybody could say it's boring. That's for sure.
It's definitely not going to be boring. I mean, it's one of those intersections of who's not going to cheer Owens, who's not going to cheer Jeri-KO, who's not going to cheer those two guys over there. It's going to be a pretty wacky environment in Brooklyn.
I thought you were pointing at Miz. I was going to say, oh, that's a lot of people.
Well, maybe Maurice, but not Miz.
You mean they'll cheer for Maurice?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. But Miz, no.
Right, understood.
We're on the same page.
KO, man.
Yep.
Always a guy to look for, man. One of the best.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.